Hello. Happy Friday. And we are going to be covering, we're going to be covering chapter 11 of The Science of Being Well today. And this is going to cover what to eat, right? So super simple. Actually, if you think about it, if you've read this book, if you're reading this chapter, then you know it's pretty simple. You can eat what you want. So thanks for joining. Thanks for watching the replay. If you're watching this later, I appreciate your time. So if we depend on this, and Wallace Wattles actually talks in this book, in this chapter, about the fact that if we depend on scientists to know what is natural food for us, or to know what we're supposed to eat and do as far as when it comes to our nutrition, then we'll never know, because everybody's body's different, and we've got to eat according to what area we live. So that's number one. The first most important answer to the question of what to eat is, number one, man's food shall be according to the zone in which he lives. So you can actually do some research depending on what part of the country, where you live, and make sure that all of the foods that you're eating, that everything that you're bringing into your home is natural and comes from where you're living, versus being shipped from other countries, other parts of the world. If you think about it, you go to your grocer, you go to the vegetable section, you go to the fruit section, and you're going to be looking at fruits and vegetables from all over the place. But you really want to focus on eating the ones and putting the ones in your cart that are closest to home. So that's pretty simple, and it's actually really easy to do when you're in the grocery store. You look at where the food has come from. Most places have a really small, an organic section, and most of that stuff is more local. But you can look for yourself. So it says that the scientists have made no progress as far as when it comes to, looking at what foods are going to serve each person the best. So they're working, they're doing what they can. You could look at all the different controversial areas. There is vegetarian, there's people that believe vegetarian is wrong and that you're supposed to eat meat. God created animals for us to eat. It's many people's beliefs. A lot of people think that you should eat a varied diet. Some people think that doesn't really matter. I don't have to eat a varied diet. And this book, this chapter actually confirms that a varied diet is not all that important. It talks about the Chinese and the Hindus, the Scotch, and, in those areas, rice, oatmeal cakes, potatoes, the things that they're eating are not that varied. Yet when you look at their health on an overall basis, they're healthy and they're successful with their health and well-being. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to have a variety of food, but if we have access to it, and if we're capable of buying organic, colorful fruits and vegetables, the things that actually are interesting to eat. I find my children, they love to be involved in the preparation and the choosing of the food. And when they can choose exciting, interesting, new fun stuff, it does make it easier to eat a variety of foods and to eat, things that are more healthy for us. If you let your kids and, you look at the new stuff that you don't always eat, there could be some positive benefit in that. This book says you don't have to do that, but it definitely makes it more fun. I've noticed more involvement with my children in the kitchen when we do more variety of foods that we eat, when we let our kids take a look at what we're picking out, what we're eating. Hi, Barbara. Thanks for jumping on. I know you were on another call. So this chapter actually says to turn away from the controversy of what to eat. So don't be, in the debates. Don't get into the talks with people, well, you need this system, or systems don't work. There's all these nutrition systems. There's, I've used them, but the big part of this is just being at peace with eating simple, basic, eating what's closest to home. And then it actually talks a little bit about where the errors come from, right? So apparently, dietary science, and this is Wallace Wattles, according to his research, he says that there is a false premise as to the natural state of man, and that what happens is they're basically not taking in everything that man is when they're looking at food and at diet and nutrition and that kind of thing, that there's actually way more to this than anybody really knows for 100% sure, right? So it talks about how it's assumed that civilization and mental development is unnatural, and that those living in the modern world that have, you know, all the comforts and all of that are unnatural, when actually Wallace Wattles talks about how the man who has full access to everything he needs as far as art, science, everything that can be given to him, is the most natural life. Everything that if he can have access to all of these things when it comes to art, science, modern, you know, the ways to live, the simplest, the most efficient ways, because that actually means that we're living completely in all of our faculties. So we're actually using every area, our mind, body, and spirit, all. So that actually says that that's more of what the natural really truly is. It's not like the savages in the forest, or you know, foraging for food still, that kind of, that's not actually what he talks about as being natural. He actually talks about the benefits of living in a modern, you know, world, and having the complete use of everything that we can have access to. So that's really, and then hello. So then it goes into talking about the different areas, right? The different regions. It talks about how the frigid far north is going to need fuel foods, and how in the tropics, it's not going to be that way. That in the tropics, you're going to find people eating more vegetarian diet. Again, you know, it goes back to eating where you are. Eat local is the easiest and most simplest way. And it, you know, it goes into the fact that it's true. You know, if you try to spread out every type of food to every area, right? To every land, to every nation, to all of the world, there wouldn't be enough. There just wouldn't be enough to go around. So it makes sense that the food that we have access to in the area that we live is most beneficial to us. And I'm going to read a statement. This is super powerful to me. The all intelligence seeks the fullest life in all. So in other words, God, I take the all intelligence as being God, seeks the fullest life for us all. So what this talks about is that God is actually providing the people with the food in the areas that they need. Not only that, but he's providing them the even ways to cook it. Because if you look at different areas, most people tend to prepare their food in similar ways when you're looking at the different areas of the world. And this is talking, I mean, Wallace Wattles actually, you know, puts this together as being God-inspired. Nature is formed for the advancement of life. God gives us nature and food and everything around us to advance our life. And that if we just stay looking at what God has given us in our areas, then that's basically what we need for well-being, to be healthy. And that's our answer for what to eat. Eat what you have where you are. Eat local. So the next answer, number 2, it talked about what, and it would, you know, even more simple, is eat what pleases your taste the most. So in other words, eat what makes you happy. But again, and if you look at the last chapter on eating for hunger versus appetite, here's the catch. You can eat what you want. You can eat what you want, whenever you want. You can eat whatever you want. But there is a catch. And the catch is that what you're eating is actually satisfying your hungers and not your appetites. The sensory appetites, that the desire, the cravings for things that aren't building the cells of our bodies, but actually eating what builds our bodies. So we can eat what we want if it's building us. And that's pretty simple. I mean, that's really it. This chapter, I mean, Wallace Wattles really, really breaks this chapter down pretty simply. You know, he says, if you like rice, eat rice. If you like meat, eat meat. If it makes you feel good, eat it. So that's where, you know, you see people doing different things. And, you know, I can't say that someone that's a vegan is doing it I can't say that they're doing that for nothing, because for them, it does bring them more health and well-being. And if they notice that, if they acknowledge that, then that's good for them. I think that everybody's body does tend to crave what they need as far as what minerals they're missing, as far as even the vitamins and all of that we need. And you look back at what this book states, and, if you're a believer, you can look at what the Bible says. God gives us what we need, and we can look around and we have full on access to basically anything that we want around us, any foods that we want, anything that we need to drink, to eat. It's all available around us. And there's so much, and it talks about the controversy. There's almost too many options, because then people start to not know what to do. So then most people, or many people that are having well-being issues and having issues in their health and in their lifestyle, it doesn't always have to be a weight issue either, or even a disease issue. It doesn't have to be visual. Many people go through things, and we have experienced health issues that aren't even noticeable, that we don't even see. So that's one part where, God's really opened up my heart to that fact, and to be able to help others and be able to communicate and connect with others in a way where we know, basically assuming that they're going through something with their health or with their well-being or with their mindset. You can basically assume that everybody you're talking to needs help in some area, in some way. And, if you look at the visual, I do kind of can relate what our physical body looks like to how healthy we really are in our well-being and in our mindset, because our physical body can hold us down. Our physical issues that if we experience or are experiencing can hold us down. The demands on our body, our mind, body, or on our person, on who we are in mind, body, spirit. So there's different areas. They're always going to be different and look different for everybody. So when you come to the table with, being assertive and sure that, I can help this person, or I can help, who is in my life, it's my children right now, be healthier and be better by sharing this super simple information with them. So my daughter, just a little personal experience, we've gotten into it's been a month now, almost a month. We've been putting some of these principles into action here in our home. Our daughter was in the 90-something percentile for her weight the last time we went in for a doctor visit. And the doctor suggested that we, first of all, they agreed with us that it's good to continue to make sure she's eating good, to make sure she's eating whole foods, and, make sure we're eating local. The doctor agreed that, eating local, eating organic, trying to stay away from anything that has a lot of sugar, has a lot of preservatives and stuff like that. Basically things that we don't know how the body responds to. Just the cleanest food you can get. They agreed that we should do that. And then that it would also be healthy to look and make sure that her calories out and her calories in are healthy. We're not putting her on a diet, not that kind of thing, but we had to come to the acknowledgement that she was inching up and up and up and up and up. She's only 9. However, if we don't look at that now, and this is a problem, this is an epidemic. If you look across the world, you look at people, you go to the grocery store, go to schools, you will notice childhood obesity is absolutely becoming an epidemic. And I do believe that it is, a big part of, as parents, we're fearful to actually start taking control of that area. And I'll tell you why, because it's already happening with us. When you get into conversations with people, they judge you on it. They're like, what do you mean you're looking at your 9-year-old's nutrition? So you have to be open to the fact that what you're doing in your life, what you're doing for your children, what you're doing for your family might not be what everybody else is doing. But here's where it's important to connect with that discernment, connect with what guides your life. If you believe in God, it's definitely God. Then, and make sure that you're doing what's in your heart when it comes to your eating, your nutrition, especially what you're providing for your family on the table. And you're actually, if you're cooking and if you're feeding people, you are in a huge position of leadership and of assistance to the world, because this is like I said, an epidemic, not only with kids, but it is becoming way more noticeable with children, but with adults as well. So if you're in control of that, and if you are the person that hands the food to people, and especially cooking it, then make sure that you're becoming more aware of what truly is good for your body, what's feeding your cells, and what's feeding the people around you, and what's feeding the people that you're giving the food to. Make sure that you're assisting people in this knowledge and awareness, because most people don't know, even though they might not even ask. Most people do not know. So we've been putting this into practice with my daughter. It's been almost a month now, and now we haven't actually taken her back and we haven't calculated the BMI, but her weight is coming down. I can see the inflammation. Actually, I call it inflammation, but her face is actually, you can see her cheekbones now. Her face was really round before, and I attribute that most likely, again, I'm not a doctor, but to inflammation, because we've been more aware of what she's eating. We've reduced the sugar, we've reduced the processed foods, we've reduced basically the unneeded calories. So for us, we look at breads, pastas, anything that's a filler, that's not actually giving us fuel. So, and that's not to say go low carb or anything like that, but I'm just saying that we're using a simple, looking at what we're eating, looking at her food plan, and making sure that she's getting enough exercise, of course, and then portion control. This chapter absolutely talks about portion control, and the way that it talks about it is there's two things. Obviously, one of the areas is the indigestion, when it talks about indigestion and how indigestion is never caused by satisfying hunger. It actually says indigestion is only caused by satisfying appetite, gratifying that appetite versus hunger, which is huge, because so many people deal with indigestion, and it's something. This sounds simple, like if it's because I'm eating based on my appetite, then I can control that in other ways other than just taking medications. And I'm not that I'm against medications, but I am for prevention and for doing whatever you can naturally first before you start introducing your body to chemicals and medications that could possibly throw off another area, right? So we want to be as natural as possible. I mean, that's my thing with this, is giving you some tips and resources here that you can do everything you can naturally to be well. So portion sizes. So then it talks about, it says the man, okay, wait a minute. I'm looking for it in my notes. It talks about basically we would have enough to eat if we only ate what was left over on the table after you removed the meat. Now, I know it kind of sounds like that's talking about being a vegan or vegetarian, and it might be, but I also take that as portion control. Knowing that we're eating the right portions for our body, what our body is outputting, and that's different for everybody. There's averages though that the professionals recommend, and if you start there, so that's what we did. We started with what doctors recommend for her age, and then we went with that. And at first she started losing really rapidly, super rapidly. Like within 4 days, she was already almost down a pound. We were like, whoa, that's too quick. That's not healthy weight loss. Or healthy weight wellness, right? So we went to a higher calorie range, and that brought her weight loss down lower. So then we were like, okay, this is good. This is more healthy for her, because we don't want her to lose too fast, right? Because she's a child, and we know that it's not healthy to lose a bunch of weight super quick, especially for a child. But another thing that attributed, I know, to that quick weight loss in the beginning is, again, we grabbed a hold of what she was eating, and we cut out the crap. So anytime you cut out a bunch of crap out of your diet, you're gonna feel amazing, and you're probably gonna lose weight rather quickly in the beginning, because your body's not having to digest and process all this junk. So anyway, the fact is now, almost a month later, just by doing these simple things, we've been able to get her BMI back to a healthy range. And I was talking to my husband about it the other day, and he's like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. He has to measure and weigh and calculate every single thing he puts on her plate. So this is where, if we're doing it for ourselves, we have to be prepared for that. You got to be prepared for the fact that it's going to take some time to eat healthy and well. It's going to take some time to look at your portion control, to Google, what are the calories I'm supposed to be eating? You want to look at your, the things that you're eating too. Even though you can eat what you want, why not make it the most, right? Why not make it the best foods that are going to benefit your body the most, and that you're going to feel the best? I'm all about feeling good no matter what you're doing, whether you're working, whether you're playing, feeling good, not only in your mind, but also in your body. And when our bodies are not healthy, they don't feel good. And it doesn't feel good to play. It doesn't feel good to be active, or do the things that as a human being are healthy for us. So that's it. That's basically all I got now. Let me look and make sure I covered all the notes. But the next chapter is really cool. If any of you are reading ahead, you're going to laugh at the next chapter. Oh my gosh, there is some crazy information coming. So if you have any questions or if you have any comments or anything, please let me know. You can just unmute yourself and ask. And the next chapter is how to eat. So we've covered when to eat. Oh, basically when you're hungry. And again, at the end of this chapter, it's a reminder. It reminds us again, and in all caps even, it says never eat until you haven't earned hunger. So it's pretty clear. It's pretty simple. It's a choice we can make, whether we're going to put this into action in our own life. And the only way we'll know if this is going to work is if we put it in action 100% of the time. So you basically would decide that you're literally just going to live by these principles. And there's definitely benefits. I've been doing it, and there's definitely benefits. Hi, Sean. Hi, Celier. Thank you guys for joining live. You're also welcome to post questions in the group. What I did too is I put some the replays from the last 2 weeks. If you haven't been able to get on, I put the replays from, I'm doing that right now. I just put them on YouTube, and I'll put them in Freedom Mastery for you to watch. And that is it for today. I also wanted to make a note. So once we get done with this book, I'm like already looking ahead. What are we gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and go through again in this group my review of the Science of Getting Rich. I've been going through it again for another course that I'm creating, and a lot of reflecting. So if you haven't already read this one too, this one is actually in the files, in the resources as well. You can download that and start going through that. But Wallace Wattles has some amazing content. I love the fact that he takes it beyond the physical world. He goes deep. It's not something that everybody's gonna want to read or that everybody's gonna be interested in. But again, if you know anybody that is into this stuff, share with them, let them know. Celier, I want to let you know too that I was really excited when I saw you doing your live video and you were covering the content that I had covered, because that helped me retain it more even. I actually watched the whole thing, and to hear you saying a lot of the things that I had covered was really amazing, because to hear you say it actually sounded different to me, to hear you sharing it, even though I actually was, covered it here with you in the group. So very inspiring. Keep sharing, keep putting it out there. People love to learn. And in that process, we all connect with the people that we're most like, and that, that we vibe with. So you guys, I definitely vibe with all of you. Thank you for showing up. Yeah. And again, if you have any questions, you can definitely just message me and let me know. It's Friday. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And, if you're in the MDC company, that today is actually kind of the restart day now, after all the volume has gone out from under the pre-enrollees. So now I actually just started a new marketing ad. I do the solo ads that they taught on in the Vision Team group. So if you're in that group, definitely get plugged in and be watching those videos. I literally every morning, and this is kind of just my go-to for marketing, if you're on here and if you are a marketer, when I log in the morning, I go to Robert Hollis's page and I just see what he's done. What has he posted? What is he doing? Then I go to Melody Riva's page. She's my other mentor, and I check out what she's done, what she's posted, so that I can make sure that I'm keeping up on posting the things and the content that they're posting. And, it's really important. I've noticed a difference in my statistics. Like if you go to your MDC back office, there's a link on the left called statistics, and you can actually see how many people go to your website, and then you can see how many of them actually pre-enroll and obviously then enroll. But I can see a big difference in when I post the content that's exactly the way Robert and Melody posted. Now, sometimes I'll change an I to a we, because I'm very, I always want to put the truth out there. I don't want to be, misleading people, especially when it comes to like the compensation stuff. So, but I do wholeheartedly 100% believe and know that this is a team effort, right? So like Melody getting to 25K is a team effort. She didn't do all that, right? We helped her do that, her team. So it's totally valid to say, to post her income and say we, because it is we are a team. And eventually somebody's going to be posting your income and saying we under them. So use exactly what they're doing. I notice the difference when I use their stuff and how many pre-enrollees and enrollees I get. Absolutely. So, and then I'm doing Facebook ads and also the solo ads. And I actually looked up the solo ad guy that they recommended. And I think I have his name here. And I'm using him. I'm like literally everything that I can do exactly the way they're doing. His name's Desmond Smith, and it's on the Udemy website, udimi.com. And again, there's videos in the Vision Team. I don't need to redo all this training. It's all in Vision Team. But that's just what I'm doing. So I've been getting asked several times by some people, you know, what are you doing? And I'm doing exactly what Robert and Melody are doing. I'm doing nothing different. I'm literally posting exactly what they're posting. I'm sending the follow-up emails. I'm just doing everything exactly like that. And I'm also following now, forgot what they're called, but Online Launch Agency, because they're the ones that basically were teaching the solo ads and all that. And they're super successful. Like they just hit 5K. And when you watch his video, he clarifies that they're working this very part-time. So he hit 5K working very part-time. So here's the deal. And this is my thing. I talked to my husband about it. We could spend hours and hours and hours connecting with people on our own and, you know, reaching out, marketing, networking. You need to do that anyways, because you need to have your, you know, your following, your tribe, right? We're building our tribe, our network, our following, our, you know, our legacy. You know, you can call it a legacy. That's what you're building. So what I do is I value my time by hourly. You know, what is my time worth an hour? And I find that doing the solo ads and doing the Facebook advertising is worth it, because you get more, you know, efficient response for your time in and the money you're giving. You know, like your time working is your time. So whether you're actually getting paid for it or not yet, because in the beginning, you know, you're working without getting paid. You know, marketing, owning your own business, you got to put the work in first. And you got to still consider your time valuable and only be doing what you're actually, you know, qualified time-wise, pay-wise, you know, however much you want to be making an hour. Make sure that that's all you're doing. So that really cuts down your work a lot. Melody Ribe is the one that's been helping me do this, and super helpful. I'm in her 6-figure mastery class and her 30-day accountability class. And she teaches a lot on this and has helped streamline my work hugely. I just can't even put it into words. Like I'm like beaming with the time that I'm saving by doing it the way they're doing it. And yes, you're going to invest more in the beginning because you're going to run ads, right? You got to pay for that. But the return on that investment is amazing and definitely worth it for me in my personal life. And the success that we're finding in it is beautiful. And I can't wait to see my name on the leaderboard. But it's because I know how many people I'm helping. And that's the way to think of it. You know, when you want to be a leader, you want to make $1 million, think of it in the way of how many millions of people have I helped? And if you haven't helped millions of people, then it's safe to say that it's okay that you're not a millionaire yet, that you're just getting there because you're still helping people. You're still creating that millionaire group of people, that millions of people that you're helping. So the more you help, the more people you help and seek to help, the more you're going to grow as a leader, and in all areas. In all areas. This is not just financial. This is, you know, fulfillment and success in life. You know, loving life. I mean, that's basically, this all boils down to that. Bringing our mind, body, and spirit balance so that we can love life more, right? So I love you guys, and thank you for showing up. And if you have any questions, message me and we'll chat soon. Bye.